As a youth minister in the United States, my objective is to find kids wherever they are and to be able to bring them into a relationship with Christ. On my trip to the Ukraine, it was refreshing to see that Project Sasha had those same goals and objectives in mind in one of the most challenging mission fields in the world. I was able to join the Project Sasha staff in going out to find kids right where they are on the streets. When you think about the street ministry, it's really a lot like Jesus finding, leaving the 99 and finding the one. He's out there searching. You're looking for those who have still not heard the good news. I was also able to join in feeding the kids and helping them to meet their physical needs. Next, I got to participate in sharing the love of Jesus through activities, song, teaching, and example. And just talking with some of the students, I know that it was only through Project Sasha that they were able to know and understand this love that Christ has for them. And I also learned ways that the Project Sasha staff are serving as advocates for neglected children so that they can return to school and have a future.
It's what he did.
I just realized yesterday that this is pretty close to the 10th anniversary of my first trip to Ukraine. On that trip, we got to see Project Sasha. They were doing Bible studies in the halfway houses and feeding kids off of a back porch. Детский Dom wasn't in the picture yet. No one had even thought about Детский Dom. And the hospital baby ward ministry, that came about much later. But the Детский Dom particularly, I remember visiting it in 2000, the first year that we actually had a plan there. And going through that building, and I know as we swept and cleaned, several of us thought this is never going to be anything. How can anybody make a children's home out of this rubble here? We go back this year and see the families that are there. We've got 2 families with 20 children between them, and they're living in that building. They have huge, nice, roomy, spacious, clean apartments to raise these children. And to visit with these children and to talk to the parents and find the love that they have for these kids. And they're raising them in a Christian family, something that is not very common in Ukraine. In fact, it's hard to find Christian families. I look at these kids and they range in age from 3 years old all the way up to 21 years old. And you think that, in 15 years from now, all these kids are going to be young adults. They're going to be mamas and papas. They're going to be ready to start their own family, and it's going to be Christian families in Crimea, a place where there's not a lot of Christian families. All right. As exciting as it is to look around and see what's going on today, it's even more exciting to stop and just take inventory of what we've got and realize the potential for this ministry that's still to come.
This trip to Ukraine was the first that I had taken in 6 years, and since the time that I was here last, my perspective changed a whole lot. When I visited Ukraine in 2003, I was married but didn't have any children. This year in 2009, I have 4 small children at home, and it was hard to leave them, but it was even harder to see some of the things that I saw while we were in Crimea. While there, I was able to visit 2 different hospitals. Each one of them had an abandoned baby ward. And each one of them had staff from Mulberry International who go on a daily basis to take food and provide care to each one of those children. Because what Mulberry is doing there, kids that have no food now have food. Kids that have no family now have family. Kids that have no hope now have hope. The last time that I visited Mulberry, I was able to see the beginnings of the very first foster home at Детский Dom, and I was able to see children who were 1 and 2 years old who were just being adopted by the first family there. On this trip I was able to see those same kids as 7 or 8 year olds who were happy, who were playing, who were safe, and who were living in the kind of family that any of us would want our kids or our grandkids to grow up in. A family that knows and shares the love of Jesus Christ.